I think one thing that's helped me a lot throughout this as well has been I've created a blog after Jamie died because I found my experience was just so unusual in so many ways. Being 26 years old and essentially widowed is just not what you in any way expect, and it was so different from the experience of my grandma being widowed and so different from the experience of my peers going through breakups, and I felt very all these emotions that you couldn't really that others couldn't really necessarily understand. So I found that it was difficult to really be myself in any situation because you want to say the right thing and you want to be polite and not create an awkward situation talking about grief in the middle of a dinner conversation where the mood is light. And I hated this facade that you end up putting up. So what I did was create a blog that went out. I wrote it under a pseudonym, so you can't just search for my name and anyone could find it. But I posted it out to all my Facebook friends to say, everyone, this is how I'm feeling, and whoever could be bothered or wanted to could read through the blog. And then because I knew there was such a wide audience, it was not just my parents or Jamie's family or my friends or colleagues or whoever, but it was everyone. The only way to go about it was really being very honest on the blog. And I was and still am very honest about how I feel, both the good things and the bad things, and what kind of things I like other people to say and do, and what things I found very difficult to handle, and just having a place where you could write that out was really good. For example, I found one of the things that was difficult for me to deal with was the fact that we didn't get married, because we had been talking about getting married for such a long time that maybe we'd do that when he got healthy. And then when he didn't, I said to him that in my mind we already were married, because we certainly had gone through sickness and health together already, and he meant everything to me, and our relationship much more resembled that of a married couple, I thought, in how much we meant to each other, and we got engaged partly for that reason. And then having that ripped away from you before, having him dying just before we had the wedding, I found it incredibly difficult not to be able to say, I lost my husband last year, or I'm a widow, or any of this vocabulary. Now I have to say I lost my boyfriend last year. And all these thoughts that go through your head of, well, if he was just your boyfriend, then he wasn't important, or whatever. Being able to write out about it and say, this is how I feel. This might be the words that I use in a conversation, but this is actually how I feel, was an enormous help, just feeling like it was out there in writing somewhere, being validated in that sense. I think a lot of the time also it's hard, you don't want to upset people. You sit and you're meeting old friends and you haven't seen each other for months, and they're telling a funny story from work and the mood is nice, and you don't want to bring down the whole party about talking about your grief and talking about how hard everything is, and you feel like, or you just feel like they'd find it awkward, and it can be difficult. I know they often feel like they can't bring him up because they don't want to upset me, but I feel like I can't bring him up because I don't want to make them feel awkward. So I found it made things easier writing it, because I know then people only read it if they want to read it, and if they're curious what it feels like for me, or how I'm doing, or generally how people in my situation might find things, then they can read it when they're in the mood to do so, and when they just want to have a laugh and not think about death, they can, no one's forcing them.